Of all the absurd pronouncements Donald Trump has made, some of the most inflammatory have been about women.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
She turned on him like a dog, but no, she's crazy as a bedbug. That is one dumb woman. Sorry. I'm sorry, women. She's a dummy.
Despite the overt objectification and regressiveness in Trump's view of women, his MAGA movement commands substantial female support, including from several women who hold prominent positions within his administration. The first female White House Chief of Staff.
Susie Wiles, stand up, please. Susie Wiles.
The youngest ever press secretary.
Caroline Levitt.
It's that face, it's that brain, it's those lips, the way they move like she's a machine gun.
A female attorney general.
Pam Bondi has done an unbelievable job.
And a female secretary of Homeland Security.
Christine, she's unbelievable. I was watching her riding yesterday on a horse. She was as good as anybody.
If you want your movement to be successful, to be popular, to be cool, you need charismatic, smart, funny, attractive women on board. It's often assumed, because women aren't hugely visible in the far right, that they aren't present at all. But that's actually never been the case. Women have a really important role in any far right movement which wants to soften its image, which wants to look more palatable, less extreme.
I don't think there was an intention of let's, soften the image of the administration. I think it was simply merit-based. American women feel empowered knowing that someone like Pam Bondi is the Attorney General, that someone like Tulsi Gabbard is Director of National Intelligence. These are critically important roles for this country, and these women are performing so incredibly well because they're smart, they're capable, they care, they're loyal. They put family and faith first, and they're America first.
We're seeing women being placed symbolically in their roles as wives and mothers to promote the Trump administration's agenda around supporting nuclear families and creating, quote, pro-life policies.
I love my job as press secretary, but nothing compares to being a mom.
But on this other hand, we're seeing an explosion of the right-wing ecosystem of female influencers.
Alternative right-wing media was once a male-dominated field. Increasingly, however, a cohort of women have carved out a space for themselves, the so-called womanosphere. Blending Trumpian politics, conspiracy rhetoric, pop culture takes, and a provocative presentation style, they've climbed the YouTube and Spotify charts. There are those, like Candace Owens, who lead on conspiracy theories.
I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man.
Others, like Megyn Kelly, dissect MAGA's core political issues.
Epstein had a very, very wide web of connections.
Then there are those who fill the Make America Healthy Again, or MAHA space, a movement critical of mainstream medical practices. At the forefront of that is Alex Clark, a self-defined cute conservative.
What if the Bible isn't just a spiritual guide, but a health manual we've been ignoring?
However, no one has quite caught Gen Z female audience's attention like Brett Cooper. After making a name for herself at the conservative media network, The Daily Wire, she struck it out on her own. In January, at just 23 years old, she launched a YouTube show, weaving her takes on the news with lifestyle content, political insights, and celebrity gossip.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just broke the internet with their engagement announcement.
Cooper's show was a runaway hit. The first episode received 3.4 million views, and it now has more than 1.5 million subscribers.
Brett Cooper. She is a figure who is very adept at connecting with her audiences by coming across as authentic, accessible, and responsive to her followers. She likes to talk about issues ranging from the use of hormonal birth control, trans issues, and what she attacks as unfiltered wokeness at universities.
Lesbian dance theorist, or whatever the insane degree is that we want to laugh at today.
But then she will also talk about the latest scandals happening within the Trump administration and gossip that's happening in Hollywood, entertainment, and media industries.
We must talk about part 2 and now part 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni scandal.
Brett Cooper really was able to capture Gen Z and meet Gen Z where they're at. She focuses more on cultural commentary, and then she combines that with everyday relatability. She's obviously conservative, but she's very strong. She's very independent, she's very educated, she's a powerhouse. So while she has conservative principles and she affirms marriage and faith and motherhood, she also is someone who believes in empowerment for women.
And that is precisely where the paradox lies. Many of these women, both online and those within the Trump cabinet, have boosted their careers by telling other women to prioritize motherhood over their careers.
You can always have a career. It is not going anywhere. But children, family, your husband, marriages, that is not a renewable resource.
Even if not explicitly discouraging them from joining the workforce, the message from right-wing women has leaned heavily on emphasizing the importance of traditional gender roles. This feeds into a wider disillusionment with, quote, girl boss feminism, the promise that women could balance career success, personal fulfillment, and family often resulted in burnout, at home, at work, and even in dating. So the target for many of these womanosphere influencers is clear: feminism, its historical achievements, and those on the left who represent them.
I blame feminists for almost every ill that we have right now.
There are many women who feel completely disillusioned and betrayed by the Democrat Party, by liberalism, by radical feminism. And this mentality, this kind of eroding of traditional masculinity and trying to feminize men to a point where men are going through this kind of backlash process because they feel like they have been oppressed and suppressed by feminists who have tried to brainwash American women into thinking that they don't need men.
Girl boss and treat them like crap. And these types of attitudes have led to an entire generation of women who spent their 20s focused on their careers and rejecting men.
What they essentially mean is that sure, this stuff might make you more free, going to the office every day, earning money, not needing to rely on your man for a house, for safety, that might make you more free. Being able to choose when you have a baby, or if you have a baby, that might make you more free. But it's not making you more happy. It's explicitly responsible for your lack of happiness.
In the 70s, women were given all sorts of lies. Things that we were told were going to improve our lives, make them better. But are we happier?
They turn the argument back on its head, essentially. They say, was this really the right sacrifice to make?
While it's true that many women are burnt out, 55% compared to 42% of men, according to an American Medical Association survey, and they're having fewer children, the problem isn't feminism per se. Rather, it's things like the disproportionate burden of unpaid labor women face, or the structural gender inequalities in the workplace. And the antidote to these issues is not selling nostalgia as empowerment.
Instead of focusing on the solution that governments and societies should support young people in trying to find employment, buying a house, and starting their lives, we're seeing the right instead offer this alternative vision of focusing on building families and sort of retreating into traditional gender roles where women are the homemakers instead of participating in public and civic life.
I think this demonstrates how, for progressives, there needs to be a more concrete and confident argument in favour of women's rights. It's not enough simply to say, well, look how terrible things were back then. That's just increasingly not effective as an argument. This is important for people to remember, that simply because we're saying we don't want to go back to the past, it doesn't mean we're saying everything right now as it stands is perfect.
Thank you for watching. Hit that like button and leave us a comment to let us know what you thought about anything we covered this week. And don't forget to follow us on social media. The links are in the description, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter for updates from the show.